It's great to see everybody, and great to be part of this briefing. I usually get the notes afterwards, but I see so many friendly members of the press, and I just have so much gratitude to all of you for covering the work of the county, and particularly our environmental initiatives. But I don't want to steal the show. Mark, I'm going to follow your lead.
I'm going to hand this back to you in a second, but I just want to say, first of all, I want to thank you for the work you did. I wanted you to join us today. So I had this opportunity to publicly thank you for your service to Montgomery County over the last 3 years and wish you the best of luck as the first Marylander to serve as an EPA regional administrator of the Mid-Atlantic states. It's good to have somebody who knows the environment in the specific location where you've been working for years. And I think this is going to be, a great step for President Biden, and I think it's a great opportunity for you. And I'm confident that you're going to be able to provide the leadership that we need. I do think it's a big victory for the environmental community. It's nice to know that an environmental position at the presidential appointment level is being filled by somebody who deeply cares about the environment. During my victory speech, when I won this job in November, I talked for just over 20 minutes about the environment and combating climate change. Giving a speech is one thing. I then had to figure out how do you put together a team that would demonstrate how crucial making progress in this category was going to be. And there was one person I wanted who I knew, because I knew you before. I knew the project that you had earlier done, and I was intrigued by it. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to pry you away from Prince George's County, but I apparently was successful in attempting in that effort, and I'm glad I was able to do that. My direction to Adam when he came to work for Montgomery County was to do what was right and needed for our environment, and not what was simply politically expedient or easy. I didn't want stuff written with anticipation of objections, because then what's written doesn't really tell people the true scope of what we need to do. I wanted the ability to present to people what needed to be done. And I think all discussions about this have to start with what was needed to be done. And I appreciate your willingness to do that. You had the right temperament, leadership skills, and passion, and you were able to achieve. Under your leadership, we got 2,000 trees planted through our Tree Montgomery program, nearly a 4-fold increase over what we'd done before. We moved several flood control and stream restoration projects into construction. We proposed and oversaw passing of the first national bill banning the use and sale of No. 6 polystyrene food service products, and passed a ban on plastic single-use straws. We launched commercial food scrap recycling program, enlisting 24 partners for food scraps diversion for composting. Started a single-family residential food scraps recycling collection pilot, which will be expanded, and launched curbside recycling purity program, where inspectors went out, inspected the state of trash that was left on the side of the road, and told people that their state of their trash was not adequate and they needed to clean it up. And that reduced contamination and recycling by nearly 50%, which shows that doing that was effective. Recently, the Department of Environment created Critters in Crisis list that establishes a local at-risk endangered species stream critters list to bring awareness to the water quality of Montgomery County streams and the impact of fertilizers and overdevelopment. And you led our efforts on reducing energy use that is saving us money, engaging residents, laying the foundation for us to achieve our climate action plan goals. You grew commercial building benchmarking, increased it, and it's led to estimated utility cost savings of more than $3 million for county commercial building owners. A few months ago, you succeeded in getting the council to pass the International Construction Green Building Codes, which is no small thing. I don't think you can underestimate the impact of that going forward in making sure that our future built environment is not our current built environment. And tomorrow, the council will be holding a work session on our building energy performance standards that would implement building energy performance standards to address climate change on buildings that already exist. And just to be clear about this, there is no achieving any climate goals if the existing built environment is unchanged. If inefficient buildings are allowed to remain inefficient. If they're allowed to be powered by natural gas or anything else of the polluting nature, there is no getting to zero. There's no getting close to zero. So this is absolutely critical. Adam's going to go in more detail about this. So I encourage you to cover this critical piece of legislation that will be historic for our state in achieving our climate goals, and to remember the work that Adam and the rest of our team put into getting this to the finish line. You helped implement an equity lens for all our environmental work and developed an equity map to assist in evaluating our processes to address innovation and equity in program delivery and community engagement. And you'll find equity front and center in our climate plan, literally front and center in our climate plan. So, your appointment, I think, is another example of the caliber of people we've been able to bring into the county government. Although we'll miss your leadership and your innovation inside county government, I'm happy that you're going to be working for the local environment as our region's EPA administrator. So I'm going to turn it over to you, but just thank you. Thank you for persevering. It's been a good ride, and I'm looking forward to what you can do at the federal level. I would like to have some of the federal shackles removed so that the rest of us can do our jobs even more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Well, I'll get back to you on that last point. There's so many things I want to say, and I don't want to repeat a lot of the things that the county executive said. But I just want to first express my gratitude to him. He reached out to me early on. I had no interest in leaving Prince George's County at first, but there were a variety of factors, but not least of which was Mark's enthusiasm for the work and the belief in doing the right thing for the environment, and that promoting the public good is not always easy. And sometimes you have to benefit the future by making tough decisions in the present. So, Mark is so fearless about it. And I say this a lot, but the environment to him is always co-equal with all the other issues that are facing local government. A lot of us in this field, and you members of the press know that environment makes great talking points. Everybody loves the environment. But in fact, it often takes a backseat to so many other issues like public safety and education and economic development. And those issues are absolutely important. But Mark realizes that they're co-equal, and he's willing to put it front and center. He's willing to use the bully pulpit and to make tough choices for the progress that we absolutely have to make. And in the environmental field, in a lot of ways, we're undoing 400 years of pollution, of industry, and trying to get it right, that we can still be prosperous, we still can be successful, but we can also be environmentally sustainable and promote public health. So I just want to first express my gratitude to Mark. And on Monday, I'll be sworn in as the regional administrator for the Mid-Atlantic region for EPA. I'm honored to have the confidence of President Biden in his administration, and I don't take it lightly. I will say that I struggled with the decision to put my name in for this position, just because I've loved working in Montgomery County so much. It's just such a supportive environment, to express yourself as a public official and to try to do good things for the environment. And we're joined by amazing colleagues, Dr. Bridgman, Dr. Stoddard, Patty Bubar, who's our deputy at DEP, Cindy Pena, who's our communications manager. Folks are so dedicated, and we do great things. And under Mark's leadership, it was clear to me that my job and the job of the Department of Environmental Protection wasn't just to, follow the rules, and wasn't just to, implement the policies and push paper and do inspections and build projects, but our job was actually to lead the way. We're blessed and privileged in Montgomery County to have so much political support from the executive, from the county council, who've been great partners, from so many advocacy groups, and with a very, very talented and sophisticated staff. And with all those blessings, and few jurisdictions can say all those things, it's our job to take some chances and to do some tough things and to lead the state and lead the nation. And throughout my 3 years here, I've received many calls. I've been in many meetings, and I've been in many public hearings for the Maryland General Assembly, because they're like, so you guys are trying this plastic bag thing in Montgomery County. How's it going? Because we want to do something similar at the statewide level. Oh, you guys are doing something interesting on stormwater and a stream restoration. We want to do that at the state level. So they're listening, and they've listened even more. And during the General Assembly session, I spend almost as much time preparing for briefings and hearings in Annapolis as I do for our own county council here. And that's a testament to the leadership. There's a few things that are on the docket, and Mark mentioned some of the things that we've done. There's no need for me to repeat any of that. But tomorrow, the county council will hold its first work session on building energy performance standards. This is a great example of all these things. We'll be the first county in the United States to require energy efficiency standards for existing buildings. Half of all greenhouse gas emissions come from building energy usage, and half of that, about 25%, a quarter of all emissions, come from commercial buildings. And we know that's where we need to start, because there's a few thousand commercial buildings, and we know where they are. We know the managers, we know the owners. We can work with them over the next 13 years to get their emissions down to zero or close to it. And we have to do that because that's where we can make the most difference. So this will be a little bit tough, but our department has engaged opponents, or formerly opponents, stakeholders. We've engaged advocates. We've done a lot of public education, because we know this needs to be an open, transparent, and engaged process if we're going to succeed. So I'm really, really excited about that. Another major initiative that we put together, but we still have to get off the ground, is community choice energy. To the earlier point about us being the leader, the Maryland General Assembly wanted to enable counties to purchase their own green energy for residents. Currently, our utilities do that, and that can be okay, but jurisdictions sometimes have more aggressive goals and different environmental priorities than others. So it was debated by Delegate Charkoudian. She was the leader in the House of Delegates, and there was a lot of pushback. But in the end, she said, if anyone is going to do this, it's going to be Montgomery County. So I'm just going to try to get enabling legislation just for Montgomery County to be able to do this. And without any hesitation, the county executive said, yes, we're in. And he and I went to Annapolis, we testified, and we got that bill passed. And now we're in the process of developing the rules with the state of Maryland to be able to do that. Again, first, and people are watching us. So I can go on and on. There's lots to talk about, but I'm really, really excited that, what modest contribution I have made has been done with a team of super talented people all around me. It's in really good hands. Adriana Hochberg will be the acting director, and she and I have been working closely. So everything will be handed off, and I have full confidence with her and the staff to get other things across the line. And there's a lot more coming. I'm tempted to talk about some of the cool stuff that we have up for the next few weeks, but you're going to just have to tune into Barry Hudson and Scott Peterson and Mark Elrich, because there's some really other cool policy that we're going to be introducing, again, first in the nation. So I want to end where I began, just my gratitude for the opportunity here. I'm going to take the lessons, everything that I've learned, to know that we can get things done when we focus with the right leadership. And we have the right leadership in Montgomery County. We have the right leadership in the White House. We have the right leadership at the EPA to make a meaningful difference for people, even when it's hard. So thank you, Mark. Thank you to all my colleagues, and thank you to all my friends and colleagues in the press.